Hello everybody, this is Havoc. Welcome to another Warhammer video. This time it's a siege battle with the vampire counts. They are playing a siege, a custom battle siege in the city of Altdorf. They're playing with Darren Total War, and basically it's a siege, custom siege on the city of Altdorf. He is playing as the vampires. He's playing against the Empire. I'm not going to go through the whole video. I am going to let this run and kind of do a live commentary on things that I think need to be presented, but we're not going to watch the whole thing. I really just want to focus on a couple of aspects of the sieges, and then how they've changed siege battles for Warhammer. So again, this is Altdorf. As you find out, it is a level 4 settlement, so it's going to be pretty detailed with some pretty high-tiered buildings inside. First thing that I really want to say is just the scale of the city itself. They've really done a good job of presenting a large-scale looking city. The graphics aren't that great, but they explain that they've actually turned the graphics down to kind of simulate what they believe a majority of Total War Warhammer people who play it, what they will see. So I think they said these are on sort of high-ish. So again, not the most intricate, amazing detail in terms of quality, but the actual physical detail of the settlement itself is pretty staggering. I mean, looking at it right now, that's a lot of buildings. They're way more detailed than even they were in Attila, and I thought Attila was pretty detailed. Maybe not necessarily the walls, but I mean, even the fact he mentions here the skull with the wraith, and just things like that. The artists have really taken a lot of time to make sure these cities really kind of reflect that old world style. So the detail is really immense, and that's what I like about that. So again, you'll only play a small section here, and he's going to show off. I'm going to get to them in a second. You're only going to play a small section of the city. You'll get access to 1 to 2 walls max within a city, which I thought was bad at first, but after watching this video, I'm very convinced that sieges will be much more fun than they have been. So here are the siege towers for the vampire counts. They're a mix of bone and stone and coffins and muck. Quite terrifying, and they're showing off the zombies here at the moment. Now I do believe that the zombies are, or the units are on their highest resolution for the battle. I think that's what they said. And so it's really got me excited about this video too, as they show off a lot more of the units. When I went over the unit roster, there were a lot of units that I wanted to see. Heinrich, he's chosen to use Heinrich Kimmler. He is the wizard. One thing they wanted to note about him, which you'll see if you watch the full video, is he is very much a support unit. He is a spellcaster. He's not a huge melee. He's not Karstein for sure. He is very much, I guess, just a support unit. He's meant to hold back, support the units, while also casting spells. Another cool thing is the spell browser. This is something they've added in-game. It is an offline encyclopedia. This will help, especially for me. I think I am actually going to look through all the spells, maybe even do a video once the game comes out of all the spells for each different race that I'm going to play as. So again, they're going to show off a lot of units that I want to see, and as things that I've seen before. You've seen the Grave Guard, you've seen the zombies, I think you've even seen the Black Knights, but Darren really goes into detail, and he has a wide range of units that he shows off here, and it gets me super excited. These are Grave Guard. They are mid to high tier infantry, and then you have your heavy tier right here, which is the Grave Guard with the great weapons. They look pretty epic with those double swords, with all of that. That looks pretty awesome. So he is going to move on to show off the Skeleton Warriors. And not only do we have Skeletal Warriors in this battle, we have Skeletal Spearmen, which is one of the units that I just wanted to see. I assumed that they would just be Skeletal Warriors with spears, and I was quite fairly correct. But it's still cool to see the unit type themselves. It's kind of weird. Their little shaky animation thing. I get what they're doing. It's just a little. I don't know. It's like they're a bunch of bobbleheads, and it kind of freaks me out. Not gonna lie. So he's gonna move back to the crypt goals. Crypt goals are something that I wanted to see, and it turns out they are a cudgel infantry. What's also unique about Total War Warhammer is the different types. I mean, they have a whole bunch of new different types of units. The Cairn Wraiths are something I also wanted to see, so I'm glad they brought them out. These guys ignore any kind of terrain, so they can pretty much... I don't know if they could, like, fly over walls. I'm not sure. By terrain-based movement penalties. So, I mean, there's nothing that's going to stop them terrain-wise. They can move through it freely. They're ethereal, which also means they have buffs against regular weapons, essentially. And so Darren really pulls a cool feature too. He gets regular Dark Knights, which look pretty epic, but he also pulls in Dark Knight Lancers. These guys are going to be shot cav, whereas the original Dark Knights, I believe, are melee cav. And that's one thing I really like to see. Next up, he is actually going to do the Fellbats. It's cool to see the Fellbats. We saw them in the quest battle, but he has quite a few of them there, and they said they are literally a support unit, and that is what they are supposed to be doing. They're not meant to last very long, and apparently they're super cheap, so there's going to be no issues with that. They're used to kind of pester artillery. I mean, that's like the thing they've made for them. Next up is the Crypt Horrors. Again, Crypt Horrors are crypt ghouls who vampires have allowed to feast on their blood, which goes through this radical, absolutely horrifying, troll-like transformation, which is pretty awesome. And that pretty much goes over everything that he has. But again, you have monstrous infantry, you have cudgel infantry, you have scythe infantry with the Cairn Wraiths, you have shot cav, you have flying, the bats, whatever, I can't remember exactly what they are. So there's just so many different aspects of unit types, and you're going to have to figure out, again, we're going to have to start over and figure out what we want to do with them. As I mentioned, this is a level 4 settlement, and if you watch the whole video, you will find out that the towers are pretty buffed up, and so he will make a comment essentially saying that those towers can hit everywhere in his deployment zone, which I think is a cool factor of the sieges. It's no longer a sit back for 10 minutes while your siege units attack. It's going to be, oh crap, those towers can hit me within my entire deployment zone. So I could have people at the very back and they're still going to hit me, so you're going to have to be more decisive, and you're just going to have to know what you're doing, because immediately, as soon as he hits the start battle, those towers start firing at him. I mean, it is immediate. And it looks, from the looks of it, I think those got to be like cannons, because they're explosive and they're pretty epic. So again, you're just going to have to immediately start pushing your troops. One thing that I think is cool is you don't need to deploy ladders. Any unit can automatically build ladders, which is a little weird. I'm not going to lie, that's one aspect that I'm not completely okay with, because again, it was part of siege battles in the past where you had to build ladders. They don't just automatically pop up. And so to be able to run to the walls real quick and then deploy ladders, I think is kind of, I don't know if I'm completely okay with it. But whatever. That'll influence how I play for sure. So as you can see, they're just getting wrecked. You cannot stay there. You can't just stay and hope for the best and wait for your siege towers to hit. You're going to have to push your siege towers, and you're going to have to just push everyone right off the bat. I think that will make sieges more fun, because again, the way we used to do it in the past, and even in Attila, is you just kind of sit back, you let your artillery do the damage, you open up as many holes as you can, and then you push through. As you can see here, the walls are much wider. This is one other very important thing that will change the game for sieges, is that you will be able to have whole units, not just 4 or 5 man wide like I explained in the other siege battle video, but you have, they have 2 units deep. They have 2 unit cards deep within those walls. So that will make walls more of a grind. As he goes in this video, he spends a lot of time on the walls, which actually ends up hurting him a lot. He loses a lot of guys on the walls, but he ends up doing better in the end, I guess, if you consider that better. So here are the Fellbats. They're taking out those artillery units. Again, they are expendable. They are They can go after those artillery. They can really pester them, which multiple people have just said that's basically what they're good for, is to just take out artillery, which artillery in the game, especially since the vampire counts have 0 ranged units, it's very important to take out all the ranged units of the enemy that you can as quickly as possible, because you just can't fight against it. You can't do very well at all. So here is a good up close shot of the wall. As you can see, he has whole units wide up on those walls, and that's really cool. Again, it makes for more of a grind, but it's always been a grind for the walls. I don't know that they can really change that, and I don't know what they would change to make that grind on the walls better, but they have, it's improved, and it's nice that you can put entire units up there that aren't just, like I said, that aren't like 6 or 7, 4 or 5, whatever, men deep. And you're not having these huge long lines of men who aren't fighting. It's almost as though you're fighting on land. And so again, I don't want to go through this whole video. That's the main aspects that I wanted to push. He does some magic. He shows off the units. It is a very nice siege battle. I'm not going to spoil it for you on whether he wins or loses. You'll have to look at that. You'll have to watch it yourself. But that's basically all I wanted to do. I wanted to show him getting up to the walls and showing the main mechanics of the sieges. As you can even see in the background, the avenues are much wider as well. And that's one of the other things that they mentioned, is just that it's not a cat and mouse game of narrow streets. It's very wide avenues in which you will have a greater time fighting, deploying, and flanking. So again, this battle, I didn't want to do any of the commentaries of the other sieges that the other Total War players got to do, because I want to leave that to them. I want to give all credit due to those guys like Lionheart, Sparta, and I think even Haxo maybe even did a siege. But since this is Total War, I wanted to focus on this battle specifically. So yeah, that will basically be it. I am excited for sieges. It will be interesting to play with the various factions with sieges. I imagine they will be kind of completely different for each faction. There's certain things that will, be advantageous versus disadvantageous. And then one final thing to note, I just wanted to throw this out there. Towers. This is an improvement, believe me, on Siege and Siege AI. Once you capture a tower, it no longer fires on your troops outside. They don't dissolve. They don't crumble mysteriously like they did in Attila. And they also do not shoot inside of the city. So as soon as you hit those walls, you are automatically at an advantage, because towers don't fire on your troops inside. That was one big thing that I don't like about Attila. And I believe even Rome 2 is once you got in the city, you're still getting shot. You're still getting just destroyed. So it wasn't very fun, but I think they've done a really good job improving the sieges. So that will be the end of the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Like I said, go watch this whole siege yourself. It was a very good siege. It really showed off a lot of the mechanics of it, and it still gets me very excited for Warhammer, and it lets me know that they do still know what they're doing, and that pushing back that release date has only improved the quality of the game, in my opinion. So follow me on Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook. Again, thank you for watching. This is Havoc, and I am out of here. Peace!